good evening, and good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. I'd like to welcome everyone. We're thrilled to have you with us today for this exciting webinar titled Inside RPI's MS in Information Technology. So whether you're here to explore graduate study options, deepen your understanding of IT careers, or simply learn more about what RPI offers, you're definitely in the right place. So overall, we've got a fantastic lineup of speakers today, and I'm very excited to introduce them. To kick things off, let me quickly introduce myself as I'm going to be hosting today. My name is Denver Muirhead. I'm the overall Director of Strategic Operations at InUni Global. I bring over 20 years of experience in leadership operations, helping institutions align strategy with smarter, scalable solutions. At InUni, I also lead the global partnerships and the international student recruitment strategies, and very fortunate to engage with institutions and students across the world. Today, I'm especially excited to help spotlight RPI's outstanding MS in information technology. Now, without further ado, let's go and meet our fantastic RPI colleagues today. First, we're honored to welcome Dr. Cathy Fontaine, who's a senior lecturer and graduate program director at RPI. Dr. Fontaine brings deep expertise in areas like ethics and data, government policy, and intergovernmental organization, and has played a key role in shaping RPI's graduate IT experience. Dr. Fontaine, it's wonderful to have you with us.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. Welcome, everyone.
Amazing. And last but not least, we're also joined by Jean Luca, who's our Senior Student Services Administrator at RPI. Jean is your go-to person for academic guidance and student support, making sure that students stay on track with their goals, schedules, and success. Jean, wonderful to have you with us.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Glad you're here.
Amazing. So once again, I want to thank everyone for attending, and I'm really excited to bite into things and move things forward with what we've got in plan today. Before we do that, I just want to host a little bit of housekeeping. Just to highlight, we want this session to be interactive overall, so please do not hesitate to send in any questions using either the Q&A box on the screen, and then we'll also address that either throughout the session or it will be at the end of the session via our Q&A session. We'll aim to try and get through all of the questions if we can. Any of the questions that we can't get through, then we'll definitely collate them and send out some answers after the session, or we'll make sure that your regional representatives will get in contact with you to provide a service in terms of answering those particular nuanced questions that we're not able to answer today. So with that said, let's get started. And with that, I'm delighted to introduce to you Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. So let me give you a quick overview of what's ahead today. Firstly, we're going to begin with a short introduction to RPI, followed by an in-depth look at the MS in Information Technology program, what it covers, how it's structured, and also why it stands out. Then we'll explore what life is like for IT students at RPI, from campus life to broader community in Troy as well. And then finally, we'll wrap things up with a live Q&A session where you have the chance to ask your own questions directly. In this case, we will ask them for you. Now that we've had a glimpse in terms of what we're covering, let's begin with a closer look at RPI itself. As RPI has a rich legacy of innovation and academic excellence, it's important to understand the foundation and the environment that shape this program. To walk us through, I'd like to hand over to Jean, who will introduce the university's history, mission, and location. Also, why it's such a powerful place for aspiring technology professionals as well. Jean, over to you, please.
Thank you. So RPI has actually been around for a little over 200 years. We celebrated our 200-year anniversary just this past year, which was very exciting. So established in 1824, RPI is the oldest technological research university in the United States, which is really cool. We're recognized globally for pioneering innovations and academic excellence in science and engineering. And we're dedicated to shaping leaders who solve global challenges through technology and innovation. So a little bit about RPI in general. We have a legacy of innovation founded, as I said, more than 200 years ago now. RPI has a long-standing tradition of innovation and excellence in science and engineering education. We are an R1 institution, a research powerhouse with over 100 million in annual research expenditures. We host advanced centers in biotechnology, artificial intelligence, material science, and sustainability. We have a lot of notable alumni, not just with our program, but with the Institute as a whole. We'll touch on some of our program alumni a little bit later in this presentation, but graduates have gone on to become Nobel laureates, tech entrepreneurs, astronauts, CEOs, and industry leaders across the globe. We have a lot of academic strength, home to 5 schools offering over 145 programs at the undergraduate and graduate levels, including top-ranked engineering, architecture, IT, and business programs. And global perspective, we're actively involved in international partnerships and research collaborations. We attract faculty and students from over 60 countries, and we really value our diversity here and multicultural experience here at RPI. So we're located in Troy, New York. It's a suburban campus overlooking the Hudson River. We're really up on a big hill here on campus at RPI, and it's beautiful views all around campus of Troy and beyond, which is really, really cool to see when you're walking around campus. We're only 2.5 hours from New York City, and 3 hours to Boston and 4 hours to Montreal, Canada. So we have a great location to take nice day trips to a lot of close cities, which is wonderful. And I know lots of students do that and really enjoy that easy access to those larger cities. And we're really close to the Albany International Airport for convenient travel access, which is great as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Jean, for that particular insight. So now that we've sort of set the stage with RPI's legacy and also its dynamic environment, what we want to do now is dive into today's session, which is the Masters of Science of Information Technology program. So this is where RPI's strength in innovation, technical expertise, and career alignment really truly comes to life. And with that, I'd like to pass things over to Dr. Fontaine, who'll guide us through the structure of the MSIT program. Dr. Fontaine, we're really quite keen to understand a little bit more about the program's core features, tracks, and kind of what makes it such a standout choice for tech-focused professionals that may be interested in taking up a program.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer. These are all great questions. I will hopefully get them all answered by the end of this set of slides. So, to begin, this is a lot of words. What this essentially says is that RPI's Master of Science in Information Technology is very multidisciplinary, and it can be tailored to your individual interest. There are 12 specialized tracks running anywhere from information technology, financial engineering, to web science and data analytics. But if you have a special interest that is not within one of our tracks, we're happy to customize a program for you. You have to complete a minimum of 10 core courses, 6 of them at the 6,000 level, which is our graduate level. 5 core IT courses, which include the basics of web science, web design, data analytics, and data mining and data manipulation. There's 3 focus track courses you need to take, and then there's an elective. So the elective can be from anywhere on campus. We can, as I said, design something that we're calling a special interest here. So if you come in and we don't have a focus track in your particular area, we can definitely work with you to pull those classes into your elective and perhaps to your focus track courses to strengthen that area so that you leave not only with a way to demonstrate excellence in IT and web science, but the specific knowledge of web science, IT and web science as it applies to that area. We have a capstone requirement as well. There's a professional track and 2 research tracks. So the professional track is tied to industry all over the world. We have relationships with corporations all over the world, US and the world. You'll see some of the companies that have hired our students in a future slide, but in our capstone courses, our project teams work with representatives of these Fortune 500 companies, these high-tech companies, new startups, brand new corporations that are alumni set up, whatever it is. We work directly, our students work directly with those people to resolve issues that they have, that the students' expertise can help solve. So that interaction at the capstone level, including all of the courses leading up to it, can help the student get hired to these companies. We get a lot of job offers for our students before they even graduate based on these project connections. Our core courses, as I alluded to, are database systems, data analytics, software design and engineering, management of technology, and human-computer interaction. These 5 courses give you the gamut of information and skills that you are going to need to succeed in business in the world as it stands right now and off into the future. IT is everywhere. It just is. It's everywhere. We don't do anything without computers, without websites, without secure links, without databases, without visualizations. We just don't do that anymore. And so what we give you in the MS IT program is the skill set, the basic skill set in the first 3 classes, the basic skill sets that you need technologically. The last 2 classes, management of technology and human-computer interaction, give you the interpersonal and social science relationships. Especially management of technology, which is one of the courses that I teach, is focused on teaching the IT professionals how to thrive in a business environment. Financial managers, CEOs, CFOs, CIOs, they all understand how to speak finance, and they all understand how to maximize profits for the company. Our graduates learn how to effectively communicate with those financial and corporate experts to create the effective solutions that resolve their problems. So we teach our students to value the 2 points of view so that they can come together to form an effective and permanent solution. The focus tracks that you see here, as I said, they cover almost everything we can think of, but if we've missed one, let us know and we will help you. Everything from cognitive computing to web science. We need one with an A and one with a Z so we can say we go from A to Z. But so far we've got all, I think, everything covered, including biology, which I think someone had asked me about biology the other day. We can put biology into any of these. If, for instance, data science and data analytics, you can use an interest in biology to learn the techniques for uncovering insights, building predictive models, and data-driven decision-making using biological data sets, using genomes, using pharmaceutical data sets. All of the data sets that you may want to deal with have an application that will match within our focus tracks. So really the point here, both our undergraduate and our graduate programs, is the data are specific and the science is specific to the discipline, but the manipulation of that data, the using that data to provide effective solutions, to answer questions, all of that is a skill that applies regardless of the data set. And that's what you learn in the MSIT. In the professional track, our capstone course works again as with a project. We cover all of these topics. I want to spend a minute on human-computer interaction and ethics, which are 2 courses that I teach. I also teach technology management, but we've talked about that. The human-computer interaction component is key to the unwritten rules that you're not going to see anywhere else on how to build a website. Okay, anybody can learn to build a website, but to have that website effectively designed so that your eye goes exactly where it needs to go, your information is effectively bulleted, communicated, boxed off, whatever. All of that design information and the way your brain responds to that design information is part of that human-computer interaction focus area. From the ethics perspective, because I spent 25 years of my career before I came to RPI in NASA, we focused a lot on ethical behavior, right? There are very strict rules for civil servants and what you can and cannot do. And so I created a course called Ethical Informatics, where we look at ethical approaches to problem solving, and then we look at the real world, which is extremely messy. And we look at case studies on what people have done with data sets. We look at the laws regulating the use of data and the distribution of data. And then we try and understand a way through a problem-solving path. There is going to be an ethical dilemma in your life at some point. If you have not hit one yet, you will. And it will involve data. And you will need to have some understanding of not only how it impacts you personally, but what the whole context of that ethical dilemma is and how it can be resolved. We focus on global e-business strategy. We do, as I've mentioned before, we have project teams. And I think that is, if you go away with nothing else, our project team focus is probably the thing that sets us apart from any other program. We teach our students to work in teams. We teach our students to value our individual skills. We teach our students how to resolve problems. They take various leadership roles. Some play project manager in one course, but not in another. Some do scheduling, some do cost benefit analysis, some do the coding, some do the analysis of the code, of the results. But whatever team you're in, you may play a different role at a different time, which gives you a much better perspective on the strengths and areas of improvement in each of these roles. So this group work is, we really, really focus on group work, but we also focus on group work in the real world. The research track lets you take an interest that you have, you go through all of your core courses, and you take a deep dive into an area, conduct a project to resolve a question. You're going to work with one of the advisors in the ITWS program, or you can do a 2-semester thesis. So this is not as involved as a PhD thesis, but can be as deep as you like. So why are we the best choice? As I've mentioned, we are interdisciplinary and we can customize your track. As things change in the tech world, we are changing along with it. 5 years ago, quantum computing wasn't even a thought in the back of anyone's mind. Now we have a quantum computer on campus, and we are modifying our curriculum to include quantum courses. And I'm sure we will have, maybe from one of you out there, our very first ITWS and MSIT and quantum concentration coming out. We have a very good balance of core and specialized tracks. We really, really work with you to make sure that you're getting the breadth of the coursework that you need so that you can dive deep into your focus area. Again, real world experience. I cannot emphasize this enough. This is not all about reading case studies in a book. We do that, but we also have you work with actual corporations, actual people, small, medium, and large businesses who have real problems that they cannot resolve. But you as the student have those skills. So what better way in a safe environment to test the skills and see how you can do than in a project in a classroom? We have a 100% job placement rate. And as I mentioned before, quite a few of our graduates have job offers in their hands before they walk across the stage at graduation. And that comes from a combination of internships that the students are on in the summer and this project work where they have shown some form of excellence to the corporation and the corporation wants them. And in fact, we have a couple of corporations, Johnson & Johnson among them, who constantly come back to us and look for our graduates because we have such a good track record with our graduates going to J&J and really excelling. We have a strong industry and alumni network. We're going to hear a little bit more about that, but we also have faculty all over the planet here. Experts we can draw on. When you come here, you will see that the focus tracks have points of contact who may or may not be within the ITWS program itself, because we have partnerships with other schools, with other departments, so that those experts come in, they work with us to help our students get that connection between MSIT and the other department. All right, so how do we know we've succeeded? We want you to be able to demonstrate that you have a core knowledge of databases, data analytics, software design and engineering, management of technology, and human-computer interaction. And what core knowledge means is you understand how those things work. You can demonstrate proficiency in building a relational database, for example, because each of these courses culminates with a project that you demonstrate. Okay, we don't do a lot of exam work in the master's level. It's not as bad. It's not like undergraduate work where you're constantly being tested. You have quizzes, you have tests, you have this, you have that. We want you to show us, so we want you to do it. And we work with you every step of the way in the project to make sure that you succeed. This is not a setup in any way, shape, or form. We help you, the faculty help you every step of the way so that your project is successful. We want you to build a project portfolio that you can then take to other corporations or even to another grad school or stay with us, whatever, and show and demonstrate how well you have learned and how well you can apply. You will develop detailed knowledge in one or more domain areas. There will be something that really, really resonates with you and you will take a deep dive, and that's a good thing. You will learn how to speak with other colleagues, with people in different disciplines. You will learn how to translate technical concepts into non-technical language so that managers who are not technical can understand what you're saying. And you will build the trust that you need in those relationships so that your designs, your opinions, your solutions are valued. In the professional track, we expect a very high level of professionalism in the execution of the projects and the research. That doesn't only mean that you end up doing your presentations at the end of the semester in full business attire. We do have you do that. But you learn, again, how to communicate with people in the C-suite who are operating at a particular level. And then with the research track, we teach you or we strengthen your proficiency in research methods and analysis methods, because they update as technology changes as well. Okay, so now that I've gotten you very excited about coming here, what do you need to do to get to get your paperwork in? What do you need to do to have us evaluate your application? So first of all, you do need an application form. There is a non-refundable application fee of $75. You need a GPA of 3 or above. If you are coming from a school that does not have a 4-point scale, it is translated into a 4-point scale before we see it. You do need to have a resume or a CV. You need your undergraduate transcripts. You need to have core coursework that includes data structures and computer science 1. Computer science 1 usually teaches you how to handle algorithms and do some form of linear algebra. So we do need to see data structures in CS1 in your coursework. We'd like 2 letters of recommendation. We'd love 3 letters of recommendation. And in those letters of recommendation, we would like to know about each of the attributes that can contribute to the core competencies that you will walk away with. So the slide that I just ended with on what you demonstrate, take a look at that when you're getting your letters of recommendation together. We want to see that you have at least some foundation in those so that we can build on that. A personal statement from you. Please do not use ChatGPT to do this statement. Please write it yourself. Okay? If you're unsure of your writing ability, please work with someone who can help you. We're not going to grade this personal statement. We're not going to give you an A through F or whatever it is for English, but we want to hear from you. We want to hear what you are like. We want to know why you chose IT. We want to know why you chose ITWS specifically, and we want to hear your dreams. So please make it come from your heart. There will be an IT background evaluation form that you will need to fill out. That's part of the application process. And we do require English proficiency test if your native language is not English. So over here on the side, you see that we need a TOEFL of 88, a Duolingo of 120, an IELTS of 6.5, or a PTE of 59. Those are the minimums. We do not require a GRE for admissions. And even if you've taken one, it's not going to be a factor in our decision-making. What might be a factor in our decision-making is if you have come from industry, and we do have quite a few graduates who have gone through their undergraduate work, they've gone into the workforce, they've had a lot of time, they spent a lot of time learning what real life is like and picking up experiences. Put those in your package. We do look at projects that you have undertaken as a member of the workforce. We do look at roles that you've had as a member of the workforce. We look at whether you've done internships. We look at whether you've published. We look at whether you've presented at conferences. All of these things help develop skills that you are going to need to communicate in the workforce. So we do want to see all of that. Don't leave anything out. Okay, we like to see volunteer work. We like to see especially unpaid internships, paid internships, whatever it is. We like to see research projects. That gives us an idea of how committed you are and how much information you've come in with already, so that maybe we can help you take that little bit of an extra step, maybe bring in another course that you weren't thinking about because you already have a little bit of a head start. Okay. Graduate tuition full-time is $64,400 per academic year. You register for 12 to 16 credit hours in fall and spring. If you fall below 12 hours, you are no longer considered full-time. Please understand that. A lot of you who are coming in from outside the US are going to be here on visas that specify that you are a full-time student. If you fall below 12 hours, you will no longer be a full-time student. That may affect your visa status. So working with Jean, you will be able to maintain that minimum of 12 hours. Above 16, we don't think it's healthy for you to be taking more than 16 credits. Master's degrees can be difficult, especially if you're coming in from a work background and you're not used, you don't remember the grind of education anymore. It takes a while to get back into that groove. Now, understand that tuition and fees are subject to change without notice. There may be additional charges here, for example, books and supplies. There may be additional supplies that are course specific that you are required to use. For example, we have in some of our courses some case study documentation and ebooks that are not available in the bookstore, but we require that you use them. And these ebooks are updated every year, so we don't ask for the printed copy.
Perfect. So, Dr. Fontaine, firstly, thank you very much for that fantastic overview. I believe sort of the academic real detail is something that sort of our colleagues and also the wider market has been asking for. And I think your representation of that and your explanation of that has really broken it down so they can get a better understanding of things. So thank you. I really, really appreciate that. So as we know, choosing an overall graduate program, it isn't just about, coursework, essentially individually, it's also about the experience that you have as a student and becoming a member of sort of the RPI community, whether it's campus activities, weekend trips, cultural experiences, and support systems. We all know there's a lot more than just what happens in the academic side of things. So we're keen to understand and supposed to give us a wider window into that particular world. Jean, are you able to sort of take us through what life looks like outside of the classroom, what can be done, how can you really immerse yourself into, as I said, the RPI experience?
Absolutely. I'm more than happy to do that, and I meet with students all the time where we talk about not only, different things that they can experience on campus, but also in the greater Troy and even larger area than that. There's a lot of great opportunities here. All right. So downtown Troy is a really cool place. We have something called the Troy Waterfront Farmers Market, which all the students talk about. They all go there all the time. It's wonderful. I love it as well. And I believe they move it indoors in the winter. So it's a year-round thing that you can attend, which is great. You can shop local produce, artisan goods. It's every Saturday year-round. There's live music. It's just a great event for students to come together, meet other members of the community. I know definitely faculty and staff are down there as well. It's just a great community event. Also, downtown Troy has a lot of great boutique shopping, lots of nice shops, and historical architecture as well. It's beautiful. They continue to add more wonderful things and renovate different things. So it's a really cool place to be. Lots of outdoor adventures in addition to what we just said too in Troy. There's Prospect Park. Sometimes there's been a couple different campus events that we've had down at Prospect Park, so that's something that might happen as well. Post and Kill Falls is also a very scenic place to take a look at as well. Friar Park is wonderful. They have golf there in the warmer months, and you can go sledding and ice skating during the winter on the park's hill and pond. And the Uncle Sam Bike Trail, which you can cycle right along the Hudson River. Troy is set right along the Hudson River. So there's a lot of beautiful views around the town, and you can take advantage of having the Hudson River right here. Lots of arts and culture in Troy as well. There's the Troy Savings Bank Music Hall, where you can experience world-class acoustics at this venue. You can enjoy classical concerts, jazz performances, and comedy shows. I've heard of some wonderful shows that have been there. There's the Arts Center of the Capital Region, where you can take classes in pottery, painting, photography. There's different exhibits that they have there as well throughout the year. And we also have a building called MPAC right here at RPI. MPAC stands for the Experimental Media and Performing Arts Center. It's a beautiful building, which has basically a sphere inside the building where, you know, multiple stages, one main stage and lots of smaller ones as well, where we have cutting edge performances and exhibits, concerts, dance theater, experimental media right here on campus. So there's a lot of wonderful events that are housed in that MPAC building. And it's a wonderful opportunity to have right here on campus for everyone. Lots of day trips too. I alluded to this a little earlier, how we're really close to New York City, Boston, Montreal, things like that. We're also close to the Adirondacks, which is a beautiful place to go if you like hiking, whitewater rafting, winter sports, skiing, snowboarding. You know, there's just wonderful opportunities to be able to travel up there. I recently did a day trip to the Adirondacks. It's easy to get there and back in a day, or you can stay there, you know, lots of great outdoor opportunities. And lots of great things in the capital region, you know, and in Albany, which is, you know, basically right next door to us. There's the Capitol Building in Albany. You can tour the magnificent New York State Capitol Building and explore the Empire State Plaza's architecture and art collection. There's also the New York State Museum in Albany, which is free, and it's really cool. You know, it's very interesting. It's a great place to go. I've been there multiple times. Very, very interesting, and you learn something new every time you go, and they rotate in some different exhibits as well. There's the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, which isn't too far from us, which is really cool. And there's also the Saratoga Battlefield, and Saratoga is also not too far from us, about half hour, 45 minutes. You can discover Revolutionary War history. There's trails you can walk through, where you can learn about, you know, everything related to the Revolutionary War. So lots of cool things to check out. Lots of great food and drinks, great restaurants here, breweries. Brown's is the first one here. I love Brown's. It's great. Great food, great drinks. It's a great place to go and hang out. We've had a couple different campus events there that I've attended, and also different things that we do, you know, among faculty and staff. It's a wonderful place to go and hang out. Lots of great opportunities. So like the craft beers at Brown's, farm to table cuisine at Nighthawks. There's diverse restaurants along downtown Troy's restaurant row, offering everything from Italian food to Korean food and everything in between. There's a lot of diversity. And lots of seasonal events too. There's an event called Troy Night Out, where there's art, music, and shopping. It's on the last Friday every month. Galleries and shops stay open late, so you can go out and do that. There's something called the Victorian Stroll, where you can experience Troy's Victorian Christmas celebration in December. There's period costumes, decorations, and performances. Really highlights a lot of the historical architecture in Troy. There's the Chowder Fest, which is a lot of fun. You can sample various chowders from local restaurants. That happens in October every year. And then there's the River Street Festival. So you can celebrate with live music, food, and crafts in the summer. And there's a really cool street fair, vibrant atmosphere. And again, lots of great weekend getaways. Lake George is only an hour away. Lake George is a lot of fun. The Catskills are only 2 hours away. Lots of hiking there, ski resorts, mountain views. And then Hudson, New York's only an hour away. There's a lot of antique shops, farm to table restaurants, and the trendy riverside towns and the vibrant art scene. And again, great day trips to New York City, only 2.5 hours away. You can take the train from the Albany Rensselaer station, or you can take the bus. You can see Broadway shows, go to museums, see iconic landmarks. Boston's only 3 hours east of Troy. Lots of historic sites in Boston, like the Freedom Trail. And there's a lot of transportation options. You can catch the Amtrak from the Albany Rensselaer station, and there's bus services and ride shares are also available for flexible scheduling. And then there's also student discounts. So you can use your RPI ID for free transportation with the CDTA, and many museums offer free admission for students. And we have a great hockey team here at RPI. We're Division I hockey. We can cheer on the Engineers at the Houston Fieldhouse and experience the electric atmosphere of college hockey. I love going to RPI games. It's a lot of fun. I take my kids to them too. We have a blast. It's a really fun thing to do. So it's a great opportunity. And there's so many clubs and organizations here on campus, over 200. Our students get really involved in different clubs on campus. I love hearing about the different things they're a part of. So over 200 student-run groups, and you can find communities based on your interests, hobbies, and career goals. I believe every year there is sort of like a club fair. We can go and learn about the different opportunities out there and join some extracurriculars that you're interested in. All right, so with campus and student life, like we said, there's over 200 student-run clubs. Some are academic-based and professional, some are cultural, some are recreational, and some are based off special interest. There's a lot of cultural organizations like the International Students Association, the Chinese Student Association, the South Asian Student Alliance, African Student Association, and more. There's a lot of academic and professional societies as well, like IEEE, ASME, SWE, NSBE, or we could say NSBE, they help put on a career fair with us every fall. And then ACM, the Association of Computing Machinery. We also have ACMW, which is the women's chapter of that as well. Lots of our students are involved in that. And there's many others as well, supporting networking and career growth. Lots of recreational and fitness clubs, from ultimate frisbee, esports, yoga. There's always something for everyone. And we have the Mueller Center, which is great for going to exercise, participate in sporting events, and then leadership and volunteerism. We have opportunities through student government, service learning, and mentoring programs as well. And global student support as well. So for F1 visa support, there's an office here on campus. We call it ISSS, but it's the International Services for Students and Scholars Office, and we shorten that to ISSS. That's what it becomes known once you're here. And they provide the best guidance for student visa acquisition and maintenance, including travel documentation, status updates. So I work very closely with that office and with our international students to make sure that they're maintaining their visa status, and any questions that they have, we work as a team, myself and ISSS office, to make sure those questions are answered and everything is going smoothly. There's great pre-arrival and orientation for our incoming international students and our domestic students as well. We offer webinars, checklists, and personalized support to help students prepare for life in the US before they arrive. In terms of housing, there's not on-campus housing for graduate students. However, we have an off-campus commons, which is wonderful, and it's a dedicated place generally for graduate students to live, and they help students find and secure off-campus accommodation options. So we work closely with them as well, and I direct students to the manager over there. For work authorization, we provide support with CPT, which is curricular practical training, and OPT, optional practical training, and STEM OPT extensions. So I work closely with students and process CPTs and OPTs every semester so that students can get out there and get that additional hands-on experience in industry. Scholarships and financial aid, we offer a merit-based scholarship, which is 40% of tuition, which is available for high-achieving international students. And there's some needs-based assistance for graduate students as well. Some of our students get part-time jobs. There's opportunities to work on campus in labs, dining, offices, or other student support roles. So I've known a number of students who have worked part-time on campus while they're a student here. And lots of global friendships and partnerships. We have international festivals, buddy programs, and clubs that make it easy to connect, belong, and thrive. And great summer internship opportunities. RPI provides structured full-time and part-time opportunities to gain hands-on experience in with leading employers and apply classroom learning in real-world settings. And I would say the majority of our students do a summer internship. It's not a requirement of the program, and you do get a lot of hands-on experience just in the program as well, working with companies, especially through our capstone experience. However, the vast amount of our students do also work a summer internship after they've been here for a year. So our program is 3 semesters. After you've been here for a year, you're eligible to do CPT and have an internship, and many of our students do that. And there's so much student support, right? So it starts with, students work with me. I get to know all of our students by name. We're a smaller, close-knit program. So I know all of the students as individuals and work closely with each of the students to meet their needs. So students usually come to me first with their questions, and then I can direct them into different offices on campus, depending on what additional needs there might be. So we all work together. It's a very team-based approach here at RPI to support our students. Like I said, we have the International Services for Students and Scholars, or ISSS. We have the international student orientations put on by the ISSS office, which is extremely helpful. There's 24/7 emergency assistance on campus with a dedicated hotline and support network for international students facing emergencies. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Academic advising and mentoring. There's tailored guidance to help students plan their course load, manage academic expectations, and succeed in their studies. That would predominantly be with me. Language and communication support. There's access to tutoring, writing centers, and English language workshops. There's a great program here called ComD where students can work to, improve on writing skills, work on, interview skills, communication skills, all of that, which is a great opportunity here. There's the health and wellness services, on-campus medical center, counseling for mental health and resources, and health insurance guidance. And then there's the community integration programs like cultural events, excursions, global cafes, and programs that connect students across all backgrounds. And just in our program alone, we do different events to bring our students together. We do like a graduate student dinner, other student events. I've offered crafting events. We bring students together to connect with one another.
Thank you, Jean. And this is a type of information that really brings RPI to life and shows it in a different dimension. So really appreciate you putting forward that insight. Now, of course, many of you, and when I say you, are recruitment partners or potential students and parents. One of the common things or common questions that always comes up is, where can this program take me? What is next? What are my opportunities? So career outcomes, employer partnerships, alumni success are essential parts of the overall equation. Fortunately, RPI, it's got a built-in ecosystem that supports career development from day one. So in order to explore this further, Dr. Fenton, would you mind maybe going into a little bit deeper about sort of the career aspects of things, how students can potentially progress, and I suppose what their potential opportunities are, whether it's during study or after they graduate in terms of going out into the real world?
Of course, I'd be happy to. So as I mentioned, our focus is one of the things that I think sets us apart is our focus on project work with actual corporations. We have students who are placed at all of these corporations and more. If any of you are familiar with electric vehicles, there's a company called Rivian, which makes electric trucks. And I don't know if they are outside the US or not, but they also make electric delivery vehicles for Amazon. And that was started by an engineering and IT student here at RPI who got the idea. He said, there's no good electric truck out there. I'm going to make one. So he did. The rest is history. But we have students who go to IBM, they go to Johnson & Johnson, they go to Oracle, they go to Microsoft, they go to Apple, they go to Deloitte. It's not only technology companies, it's also finance companies that hire our students because they have a very, very good understanding of the linkages between financial systems and IT. So who do we know here who's been to RPI and graduated from RPI? Well, Ray Tomlinson was an IT student. He invented email. And it's all his fault, is what we say. Ray was the one who put the @ symbol into an address to make it possible to identify a unique person, rather than just sending something out, doing the equivalent of yelling out into the courtyard and where's John? Well, let's find John at blah, blah, blah. David Ferrucci, who was the lead scientist behind the IBM Watson machine, which was one of the early AI machines that was tested on the Jeopardy program. This is a while back now, but there was a human who is now the current, is he the one who's currently running Jeopardy, I think, who played against Watson and lost. So Watson was learning how to answer questions in real time and how to buzz in real time. And the learning process was created at IBM, and David Ferrucci was one of the scientists who did that. We also have a professor here, James Hendler, who was part of that project. And Dr. Hendler has a plaque in his office attesting to his participation on Jeopardy. It's very cool. Mark Rusinovich is the CTO of Microsoft Azure. We use Azure in our web science and web system courses. The students create Azure instances and they learn how to manipulate whatever it is they want, how to create systems on the web using Azure. Chris Weissapal, founder of Veracode. He does a lot in the cybersecurity and software development arena. We do have information security focus track. We have cybersecurity activities here on campus. We have a very large and dedicated Capture the Flag team, if anybody is interested in that. I can explain what that is later. We have Chris Welty, who's a research scientist at Google, and he has been instrumental in developing the semantic web and knowledge representation. And what that is good for is if you want to find something, there's a relationship between your search criterion and where that thing actually is or what that thing actually is. So it's never going to be the case, or it's rarely going to be the case, that when you put in a search for something, you're going to put in the exact search term that maps 100% to the exact item that you're looking for. So the semantic web helps you make relational databases that, for example, if you're looking for who wore number 13 in the Chicago Cubs or Real Madrid or whatever team you're rooting for, you could just put in a search term called Real Madrid soccer 13, and the Real Madrid, okay, is it real or is it Real? Are we talking about Madrid? Are we talking about Real Madrid as a team? Okay, now we're getting into soccer, but that's called football where Real Madrid plays. And so we're going to go to the football linkages, and then we're going to come up with teams. And then it may ask you what year, right? So you may come back with a lot of search terms that are potential hits. But that whole area of semantic web and the knowledge representation, which is how you show these relationships, is something that Chris works extensively on. So we don't just have alumni who do cool things and leave. We have alumni who lead after they're gone. We have a great history of women in IT here, women in web science. Kayla Cinnamon is a senior project manager at Microsoft. Chelsea and Chandler and Adriana and Madi were all ITWS students. They all now are working in high-level leadership positions within tech corporations. They don't just get hired. Our graduates don't just get hired as junior programmers. You know, our graduates come in leadership positions. They come in as lead designers or senior managers or senior developers or actual program managers right off the bat. And in fact, I was giving a talk with the computer science counterpart in the computer science department, and we joked, and this is not really a joke, our ITWS graduates are the ones that hire the CS students, because we have more of an understanding of the way the corporations work, and the CS students come in and they're the ones that get into the development positions. We come in at management, they come in at development. It's a little bit of an inside joke here at RPI. So again, we're built for real world impact. We do emphasize quite a bit working with real organizations. And it doesn't always have to be the high-level Fortune 500 companies. It can also be the mom and pop down the street. In the Managing Technology Resources course, we asked the students to find a corporation or company, a small group. It could be a nonprofit or a state organization or a government organization that has an issue. Last time I taught the class, we had a group who had a connection to a church. The student's father, I believe, was the pastor at the church, and they needed some sort of a system to track how well their televised sermons were being attended, right? They were streaming their services on Sundays, but they had no real idea how many people were attending their live stream services. So there was a system that the students built that allowed for tracking that attendance. And it's a small thing. It's a nonprofit. Obviously, it's a church. They could never pay for that, but the students were very dedicated and very eager to help solve that problem. Now, I'm not sure the church is going to hire, but you know, it can be any level of connection. That small inroad into helping a church can turn into on a resume experience with a nonprofit. So a nonprofit will look at that and say, hey, what did you do for that nonprofit? This is great. So if you have an interest in nonprofit work, by all means, this sort of activity in our coursework can help you with that. We teach people how to be a data scientist, how to be a data analyst, how to be a cybersecurity analyst, how to design and develop software, how to be an IT project manager, how to be a user interface or user experience designer, how to be a cloud architect, how to be a systems engineer. These are all things that are more all-encompassing and far-reaching and generalized because ITWS is the foundation of most technical positions. It's that we like to say it's the glue that holds all the corporations together. If their networks don't work, if their software doesn't work, if their interfaces don't work, if their websites are not getting hits, if their sales folks don't get leads, it's partly because of the systems they're using. And our students learn how to make those effective right out the gate. Okay, so we've got the Center for Career and Professional Development. Was this Jean's or was this mine? Denver.
That's for you, Dr. Fonte.
Okay. We've talked about internships, we've talked about jobs. So how do you find these? So we have the Center for Career and Professional Development, CCPD. CCPD helps coach students. They do practice interviews. They work with students to perfect their resumes. They help with job search support. And they also have a lending closet. We have clothing closet. We have a lot of donations from professors, from staff, from students past and present who provide interview clothing, like suits, nice dresses, nice outfits for students to take to their interviews so they make a good impression. So we don't just prepare you on paper, we prepare the whole person with practice interviews and everything else. We have internships and co-op programs. So there's a program that I help run on campus here that's part of a grant between IBM and RPI. And one of the things that we run every year is a competitive program for summer internships for graduate students to work at IBM. And this is very competitive. We usually have about 65, 70 students vying for 25 positions, so it's extremely competitive. But there are internships that are offered on a regular basis. These are posted at the Career Development Center, and you can hear about them through either work with within our projects or going to the CCPD or looking at any of the postings through the mailing system, campus-wide mailing system, word of mouth. Professors may hear of something. We find these for everybody who wants them. We may not find your dream co-op or your dream internship at your dream company, but you will get experience. There are on-campus recruiting and career fairs. Over 300 companies from around the world visit our campus every year to hire. Students get offer letters right then and there. They do interviews right then and there. Or they could just collect information. It depends on what the student's interest is. We have grad school and fellowship prep. If you want to pursue a PhD or go into any fellowship programs like the National Science Foundation fellowships or the Fulbright Scholars, Rhodes Scholars, anything like that, we have preparation help in the career development area. And then global career readiness, right? Within the US, there's only so many jobs, but if you open it up to wanting to go anywhere, the world is your oyster, as they say. We have a global career office that will help you figure out where the opportunities are, how to get linked into that system, and help you setting up interviews. And unfortunately, we can't fund the interview trips to go there, but we can help prepare you.
Wonderful. Dr. Fontaine, thank you very much for that in-depth explanation about the services that are available to RPI. So that concludes the sort of presentation section of this webinar. Now it's time to hear from our audience. So throughout that particular session, we've been generating some questions ready to answer. So for those of you that want to put in a question, please feel free to use the Q&A section. What I'm going to do now is have a look through some that have been previously prepared by some of our earlier attendees, and also look at the Q&As that have come in now, and I'll read them out and then we'll go through the Q&A section. So if you give me a second, I'm just going to start looking at what we have. Okay, brilliant. So one of the questions that we've received, Dr. Fontaine, maybe I'll start with you here, is in regards to your slide about eligibility, types of applicant. What's being asked here is that there might be individual students that are considering RPI, but maybe not think that they have, they've not ticked all of the boxes, but are still keen to apply and maybe take that leap. What type of, I suppose, what type of profile or what type of advice would you give to those particular applicants to look at or research to ensure that they're going to be the right type of fit for RPI, and also what can solidify their chances of potentially receiving a potential offer for the future?
That's a great question. What we look for when we're doing graduate reviews is some sort of passion. You don't have to have, there are things that you have to have. You have to have the GPA, okay? That's an indicator of the work that you're willing to put in, and graduate students do need to maintain a GPA of 3.0, or they will not be allowed to continue the program. Other than the English requirements and the GPA, everything else is a matter of your interest, your passion, how you can make the connections, where you see the connections between what you're doing and this coursework or the skills that you believe you can learn in the ITWS program to connect that to your future. So if, for instance, you are interested in archaeology, you may not consider that an ITWS degree is something that is useful to archaeology on the surface of it, because you don't need IT to dig. But you do need data analysis techniques in order to process the databases of large, maybe large dig sites, maybe very large databases on languages, on cultural elements. If you are learning about the millions and millions and millions of pottery fragments found in a particular area over thousands of years, that's data analysis, that's data processing. If you have a passion somewhere that doesn't automatically fit in the box that you think ITWS fits in, then take a look at the separate skills you think you would need to succeed in that passion and see how they map. We have had student applicants who have talked a lot about a hardship that they've overcome using IT, and that has spurred an interest in IT, and they've become dedicated to learning more about IT and web systems or web science in order to feed that passion and continue to pass on that knowledge that they've learned, to pay it forward, so to speak. I'm not sure I've answered the question.
You have answered the question. Thank you, Dr.
Okay.
Fontaine. Someone just typed in to say that you've answered it perfectly. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Okay, so moving on, Jean, probably I'll forward this one over to you, is what would you say is the best advice to give to potential international applicants of how to settle into the environment and really to immerse themselves in terms of the RPI culture? So we know we've mentioned a lot of the services available. How would you recommend an international applicant to get more involved? And is there a typical week or day of what would happen at RPI for an international student?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, the first recommendation I would have would be for them to, stay in contact with me throughout the summer before they arrive here, if they're starting in the fall. I work closely with students throughout the summer before they arrive in the fall to answer any of their questions, build a schedule, get them registered. So they get a lot of emails from me. And so I just say, keep in contact with me, stay following up on those emails. And so we can make sure you are settled with registration and all of that before you arrive, so that that's less stress to worry about. And once you're here, we offer a program specific orientation for our incoming students that is required to attend, where we, really help you find your footing and have a full understanding of the program and answer any questions that might come up, once you're here. And there's also an orientation program that's put on by the Office of Graduate Education for all incoming graduate students. And then even beyond that, there's an orientation through ISSS for new international graduate students. So I always encourage students to attend those orientations to find their footing and get settled, have all of their questions answered. And then really just to stay in contact with me and communicate as often as possible. No question is a silly question. Come see me, my door's always open, and I can help connect students with resources to help them get settled and feel comfortable and find their sense of belonging here at RPI.
Okay. Brilliant. Thank you, Jean. That's really, really helpful. We've actually got an interesting question here. Something we've just covered recently, AI. So one of the questions is, how is the MS in IT program evolving to stay ahead of the rapid changes in the tech industry, especially AI?
Okay, I will answer that in 1 second. I want to add to what Jean said. For students who come from the global South or from regions where it doesn't get below 15, 20 degrees Celsius, bring a winter coat.
Yes. That's always a big adjustment, is winters for people who are not used to that. Yes.
We do tell people during the orientation, if you have not seen snow, the most important purchase you will make when you come here is a winter coat. Now, we do have a collection of coats that can be distributed, but get a good winter coat because you will do a lot of walking outside. Okay, so how does the ITWS program stay ahead of AI? the same way we stay ahead of all technologies, which is our partnerships with professors in the engineering department, in the computer science department, and corporations like IBM and Apple. We are aware of and sometimes involved in and sometimes responsible for those cutting edge advancements. We have the first quantum computer, the only quantum computer at a university. Right across I'm looking at it right now, you know, there's a building right there out my window that has a quantum computer. What we do as technology changes is we review our coursework. Even before technology changes, we have a lot of flexibility in the modules that we teach. Okay. If there is something coming out like quantum computing came out recently, we started by, when the quantum computer got here, there was an intensive course for a lot of the instructors across campus, including some instructors within ITWS, on how to use the computer, how to do quantum computing. So that instruction helps get them up to speed on how to do it. And then they take that computing knowledge and they apply it to their specific interest. So they can take the students who are coming in, say, all right, we're going to talk about data analytics, we're going to talk about cybersecurity, we're going to talk about whatever we're going to talk about, and we're going to discuss the quantum computing framework that you would need, maybe the different way of thinking if you're going to look at quantum computing and cybersecurity. For AI and quantum and a lot of things, there are some common underpinnings in all of that. So one of the common underpinnings is analyzing data. The tools may change, but the basics of data analysis really don't. Okay. There are things that you have to do. We can teach you the tools, but we can't teach you to turn your brain onto that logical process. Okay. That's something you need to learn unless you have it already. There's ethical issues that run across the board in all of these. We can teach you how to program with a quantum computer. That's fine, but we also need to make sure that you understand the ethical implications. So the ethical implications of AI are still being worked out. The legal implications are still being worked out. So the answer is we as faculty are constantly up to date on what's going on, and we incorporate that into our instruction. We have the flexibility to bring those units in and maybe assign students a project to do a little more research in that so that they help bring the knowledge in. We have readings that are state-of-the-art readings that we bring into the classroom. And again, we have corporations that we work with who will say, I have a problem in a particular area. Do any of your students have an interest in this? Let's do a project.
Perfect. Brilliantly answered. Thank you, Dr. Fontaine. Really helpful. Okay, I see there's a few more questions coming in, but I'll limit it to one more. And I'll ask it to both of you. So, Jean, maybe I'll start with you. Is a lot of our audience may not have heard about the particular program, and you've given such a great presentation. What would you say with them leaving is sort of the one piece of advice or guidance or information that you really, really feel is important to know or to consider about RPI or before applying, or anything that you feel is really, really important that you would want the audience to leave with?
That's a great question. I think that the biggest piece of, information or, thing to know about RPI and the MSIT program, biggest thing that really stands out is that the MSIT program at RPI is a place where you won't just study and learn, which is hugely important, but you'll also build a positive community amongst other international and domestic students. We're a very close-knit positive community, and finding your sense of belonging and significance within a program is huge to not only your academic success, but your social and emotional success as well. And I feel like we do an amazing job at bringing our students together into a positive community and working with them as individuals to help them succeed. And that's really something that really stands out about us, not just our academic aspects that stand out, but also in that way where we like to develop those relationships with our students. So if you take anything from this, know that, you know, you'd be coming into a program where you are valued as an individual, supported as an individual, and become immediately part of a positive community of scholars and learners.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would add to that the best thing about RPI, not just the MSIT program, but the whole school, is we're not passive here. We are active. You're not passively learning, you are actively learning. You are not sitting and reading a book. You're actually building the thing or coding the thing or analyzing and coming up with your opinions. I'll use my ethics class again as an example. There is no right way to answer some of these questions that we have right now that we're dealing with. There is a morally perhaps better way to answer than another way, but just the fact that we're asking the students to talk about it in a safe space where all opinions are valid within limits. We give them the opportunity to try things out, right? Try on being an engineer, try on being a biochemist. We have a great music program, by the way, here. If you want to minor in music, ITWS in music is a really cool combination if you hadn't thought about it. But you can try on a lot of things. And we encourage that. We encourage application of what you're learning, not just sitting there and learning, but using it, applying it, and not just using it and applying it in a well-defined classroom problem context, but in the real world where it's going to work or it's not going to work. And if it doesn't work, there are consequences, right? And if it does work, yay. But you're not going to get that chance elsewhere to work in a relatively safe space, to try out working with corporations, to get access to these high-level researchers and high-level CEOs who value your opinion. They come to us looking for students, so they value our students' opinions and they value their skills. You don't get that anywhere else.
Amazing. And these are really great insights. And this is what we really want our audience to lead with. So thank you for those magnificent answers, both of you. Okay, so it looks like we were able to answer many of your excellent questions. Thank you again for your thoughtful engagement throughout today's session. As mentioned earlier, if we didn't get to your question live, we'll be sure to follow up with you either by email or one of our regional representatives. We'll have a one-to-one session with you. So I want to give a heartfelt thank you once again to our outstanding speakers for their time and insights. We hope today's session has given you a clearer picture of what makes RPI and the MS in Information Technology program such a compelling choice. So this session has been recorded and you'll receive a link to the recording shortly. So please feel free to share that with any of your colleagues, any of your teams or peers who may be interested in learning more about RPI. Subsequently, you can also send that and reach out to one of our regional representatives. We'll be happy to set up a more in-depth session either about RPI itself or particular programs that either you, your students, are interested in. So with that, I want to thank you again for joining us and for your interest in RPI. We hope to connect with you soon again. Until then, take care and goodbye for now. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.